Welcome to the Friday Value video. This week, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that you have a choice. You can decide to get old, or you can decide to get older. Yes, it's your choice. I know this is a bit of semantics, but let me explain. I saw this statement a while back when I was prepping for speaking at a conference a few years ago, and I loved it. It is weird being the same age as old people. And I am. I'm 66. Now, I don't think I'm old. I'm older. If you've known me for any amount of time, you've heard me say, no matter my efforts to the contrary, I can't stop getting older, but I don't have to get old. So let me explain this in a little more detail. Many of you might have caught yourself saying this. I'm too old for that. Or you've heard someone else say it. Or you've heard people say, don't ever get old. Oh my goodness, if I had a nickel for every person in the hospital setting that I worked with, tell me, honey, don't ever get old. Of course, I would always look up and ask them, and my other option is, but I digress. What about, oh, I used to do that when I was younger. Well, I think that these statements, these beliefs, these things that we hear and say really happen because the person stopped taking good care of their body, or maybe they never did. Maybe they never did regular exercise, or they stopped that, or they never ate a healthy diet. And we all know that there's a lot of misconstrued information out there about what that really means, but eating optimally, whole food plant-based diet, 90% whole food plant-based, 10% or less, which is optimal, optional animal foods, making sure you're well hydrated, limiting things like alcohol and caffeine and sweets. And we're not talking moderation here, we're talking specifics, but you see, your body's designed to age well when you care for it properly. When you smoke, drink excessively, which is more than 1 or 2 drinks a week, and you eat animal foods 3 times a day instead of 2 or 3 times a week, if you consume oils, you eat high-fat foods regularly, and you don't exercise, you will not age well. You will be forced to stop physical activity because you will have pain and limited function. Your balance will decline markedly and you'll have an increased risk of falls. And you will lose muscle mass due to something called sarcopenia. And that's when you have more fat mass than muscle mass. You may not even look overweight, but your body will have more fat cells than muscle cells. Less muscle means weakness. This causes you to struggle with simply rising from a chair or getting out of a car. I have to bite my tongue when I hear people blame age for illness, disease, pain, and inability to do the things they used to love to do. It is not aging that stops you. It's how you cared for your body for 20, 30, or 40 years prior to now. Now, the very best part of all this, because this is not me shaming anybody, it's you can do something about it now. It's never too late to improve your physical health and function. I once had a man in his 80s show up in the clinic. He sat in a chair, looked up at me and said, "Don't you think at my age I should be allowed to rest?" His wife had brought him to PT because he was now needing help to get up out of a chair. He had been walking to the corner store every morning to get the paper for years, but had stopped that activity a few weeks prior to my meeting him. And of course, he got weak. My response, if you want your wife to dust you off once a day, well, he was a little startled by this and he agreed to work with me. In just a few weeks, he was leg pressing 200 pounds and getting up out of the chair like a shot. It is never too late to do the right things for your body. We are designed to age well as long as we do the right things. So never get old to have lifelong well-being. You may have no choice getting older, but you don't have to get old. I'll see you next week.